Hello everyone. So today I wanted to talk to you guys about playing For Honor in 2024 and whether or not I think that it's worth it to either A, pick up as someone who has been interested in the game and maybe potentially wants to play it at some point or another, or B, return to the game as someone who has, been a long time player or even maybe just played here and there with their friends and might want to consider coming back to the game. So I'm going to be starting off with the pros of this game, and then after that I'm going to talk about the cons of the game, and then I'm going to give my overall rating at the end. Please keep in mind that this is coming from someone with thousands of hours in this game on both PC and console, so I know both sides of the story. I know how crossplay works on both sides. This is coming from someone who, has gotten Grandmaster in duels, played the competitive scene in 4v4s. I've kind of done a little bit of everything, so I think I'm a really good person to give this opinion. So, starting off with the pros here. The pros being primarily character customization. This is like the number one thing that I always see people kind of praise a little bit. It's never going to be like Skyrim levels of depth, but you get to pick male and female. You get a lot of customization as you move on and rank up your character. Leveling is not a chore. It feels fun just to play the game. So character customization kind of goes a long way. While some of the characters are gender locked, I'm still going to be counting character customization as a plus, just because like you can make your characters look completely different from one another. Some of them can look totally edgy and weeaboo as much as you want, but then some characters can look completely super cool, and you don't have to worry about them looking like edgelords with spike and black and red paint, and having a black material for your armor. You can do quite a bit with character customization, so I'm definitely going to be putting that on the plus. And if you are curious of how that looks instead of just watching this gameplay, feel free to just go look it up. You'll see a ton of videos on that. It's great. Second up is going to be the Art of War combat system. It is this three-way system you see here on screen, where you're able to block, parry, do attacks from three different directions, top, left, and right. This system honestly kind of revolutionized this game, and I think it's the main reason that this game survived as long as it did. If it had any more, it would be a little bit too much. If it had any less, then it wouldn't really be worth playing. They did absolutely amazing with the combat system. I think they could do a little bit better with some of the things in terms of balance, but I'll get to that in the con section. Honestly, the Art of War combat system is fantastic. I love it. It is a really great addition to the game. It makes the entire game what it is, and I couldn't speak highly enough about it. The red flickering on where you need to do your parry timing, the unblockables tagging along with it. The combat system in itself, in its core, is really fucking cool. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. There's not very many people who are going to disagree with that. So I'm going to go ahead and move on to point number 3. Point number 3 being the inclusivity and accessibility to the game itself. The game has a ton of free weekends that you can come and try the game if you've never tried it before. They happen pretty frequently still, to what I understand. I've been playing again for about a week straight, and the game has already been picked up by a couple of people that I know personally who never played it before, and they're all really enjoying it. But all in all, the accessibility of this game was actually pretty insane to me, especially around when the game first launched. When the game first launched, it went on sale very frequently, and not due to low sales numbers like a lot of people have thought. The game still has very high sales numbers. The game is still constantly picking up players, and while the community is small compared to a game like Street Fighter or Tekken, it's a fighting MOBA. So it's somewhat if you mixed a game like Bannerlord with another game like Smite. Please keep that in mind that it is a fighting MOBA. That is the genre that this game fits into. Now, with that being said, there are modes that the game is kind of catered towards, which is 4v4s and not duels or brawls. Brawls being what you see here, which is 2v2s. But the game, all in all, has a really good accessibility point, and you don't feel bored or like you're not doing something appropriate whenever you play 4v4 solo. I think that's something that's really big. You do not need friends to play this game, and if you do have friends, it's going to be better. Don't get me wrong, but you can just pick this game up and play it solo and not feel bored or like you're being excluded from anything. The game doesn't require a mic, it doesn't require, text chat or anything like that. And that'll bring me over to my next point. The next point being crossplay. This one was a very, very big point that everyone kind of tried to drive home for me whenever I was coming back to this game. Crossplay is a very, very big thing now. Being able to access from Xbox, PlayStation, or PC and play with your friends. I know a lot of my friends from console moved over to PC just like I did at one point, especially when Next Gen came out, the new Xbox, the new PlayStation. I decided to move to PC, and it kind of made me sad because I couldn't play this game with a lot of my friends whenever it first happened. But this game went full crossplay, and whenever it did, a lot of people really enjoyed it. You can also just invite your friends now from the normal menu. You can play customs, you can play online matches with them. You can do pretty much anything you want now. So that's a really great thing. We don't really have to worry about them ever, taking that away from us again. But crossplay has been really solid. There's very little latency in crossplay. I noticed next to no issues or differences when playing against people on my system, being PC, versus people on console. The game has been pretty well balanced and catered to for both console and PC, so there's no real disadvantage on playing a console versus playing on PC. Everyone's on pretty equal footing for the most part, and I feel like that's a really good thing, which is going to bring me over to balance as the next pro here. This point is going to be more leaning towards people who are going to be returning to the game. If you played this game whenever it first came out, you would know that it was an absolute clunky mess with unlocked tech and a lot of other crazy things that you could do, just walking through certain walls on the maps with certain characters, one-shot glitches, things like that. I'm putting this here in the Pro tab because right now, currently, this game is in the best state that it's ever been, in my opinion. With the Outlander faction recently coming in and, kind of changing up the meta quite a bit. A lot of new characters are getting a lot of different changes. They're reworking some of the characters that have just been released. Hell, they've gone and given dodge attacks to a lot of characters who never had anything like that, such as Warlord and Blackbriar. Now, right now, as I said, this game's entire balance system is in a really good spot. There's still some things that need to be worked on, which I'll get over in the con section a little bit, but if you've played this game before, you will definitely see a huge difference between when you used to play and when you play now. There's a lot that's changed. It's definitely been for the better, and the game honestly has taken off quite a bit. For Honor is not a household name, and I don't think it ever will be. It's not going to be something you can go over to some random person's house and say, hey, do you play For Honor? They're going to have no idea what you're talking about. But this is the closest we've ever been to that, and I feel like that's a good thing. Now I want to get into the cons of this game, which I'm going to play devil's advocate of myself, and start with balance. There are some characters right now who are straight outright banned in the community for the competitive scene that just are not it right now. Now, this could be subject to change, subject to nerf, subject to other characters getting buffed to keep up with them, but there are some balance issues still in the game, with every game, as usual, that cause a little bit of an uproar in the community right now, and I think that everyone is kind of on the same page, which may lead the devs to changing up some things later on, such as Orochi and Shinobi right now kind of being some of the top two picks, which they never really were before, to my knowledge, but now these two characters are just absolutely insane. They have some of the best kits in the entire game. Same with the character that you see me playing here, Afira. A lot of characters need nerfs right now. That's just kind of how the game goes, as you all know. But that's a big point that I want to make here. Another big con is that you are going to feel like you lost the character select screen sometimes. There are some characters that completely counter others. One of the biggest counters that I've seen lately is, even though Orochi is one of the biggest powerhouses in their community, Hitakiri hard counters them right now, just because the hyper armor and the variably timed heavies. That's at least my understanding. That's just an example as well. Some characters just hard counter others, and it can feel a little frustrating to play the game, especially if you have like one character that you want to play. You're a one-trick pony like me. It can be really discouraging, is a good word for it. The biggest con for Honor for me is the community. Now, while you can make a lot of friends on this game, such as I did, you can meet a lot of content creators who are really good people, you're also going to bump into a lot of really nasty, salty people. And that's not necessarily because the community is just that bad, it's because the community is just that small. You bump into the same amount of salty people in games like Fortnite and Call of Duty, just less frequently because there's more people, so you don't really see them as often. In For Honor, it's a smaller community, it's smaller, that's all there is to it. So you're going to bump into these people quite a bit more frequently. So expect your fair share amount of racism and homophobia. That's just part of the game. You'll get used to it. Honestly, I've always thought that stuff like this is kind of funny. So, you know, if you're like me, keep your messages on. Trust me, you will get something, especially if you're on console. Last for the cons, which is another huge red flag, is the learning curve. The learning curve of For Honor is infinite. Please make no mistake with that. When you pick this game up, you will be learning each and every single day, and you will not stop until the day this game either dies or you quit the game. That is how it is. I'm sorry. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. You will learn. You will constantly be learning. And the reason why is because characters will always be changing. Characters will always be introduced to the game. The game still gets updated extremely frequently, and with that comes its fair share of, you know, fuckery with each update. There's going to be bugs, there's going to be glitches, there's going to be characters that are absolutely mad fucking annoying that you can't deal with, there's going to be characters that you can deal with. So keep that in mind moving forward. That is the biggest con that I can possibly give, other than the community being absolute goobers. And now this kind of leads me to the verdict of whether or not I think For Honor is actually worth it for you to play in 2024 as this new year comes on. And I'm going to give somewhat of a yes and a no. I want to just outright say that this game is very fun to play with your friends. It's an amazing game, even sometimes. You can have a hell of a lot of fun if you just don't take this game serious. And I think that's what you should do. If you pick this game up and only want to play it for fun, then that's what you should do. I know a lot of people are coming from this game from Dark Souls and a lot of other games like that. If you play this game, don't expect people to just give you 1v1s. Don't expect people to appreciate you as a person. Just expect people to play the game and get mad. That is the mindset you should have going into this game. You're here, you're having fun, and that's it. If you want to come into this game and are considering playing it on a competitive level or anything similar, no, don't do it. The game is in a great state, but don't return and put your life into this game. It's not a good idea, it's unhealthy, and yeah, that's my opinion on whether or not For Honor is worth playing. Yes, if you want to have fun, no, if you want to play competitive. That's all. Have a good day, guys. Peace.